Hey everybody, it's Jimmy. So I did an inspection yesterday, well, a pre-sale inspection. Like everybody knows that all the houses in Florida, there's more and more inventory coming up. And now it's turning into a buyer's market. So it's more challenging to sell your house. So I always suggest to people, before you're selling your house, do a pre-sale inspection, so because no matter who buys the house, most likely they're going to hire a home inspector. And if they're like, it's things that are obviously wrong, the home inspector is going to find those problems, and then they're going to tell the buyers, and the buyers are going to want some money back or a lower price, and they're going to use it against you. I'll give you an example. One of them said, hey, I went there and the water heater was bad. And the water heater was going to cost, this particular water heater and where it was located, was going to cost about, I would say about $900 to $1,100 to replace. But it was all rusted, it was old and everything. But if a home inspector went there and saw it, they're going to be like, hey, give us $3,000 off the house because it needs a water heater. All right, because there are plumbers out there that charge a stupid amount of money to install a water heater. I just talked to a realtor, and she's for a 38-gallon water heater, they wanted $2,000 to install it, and it's just like easy access, no big deal, to get to it. 38-gallon, $2,000. I'm like, come on. But anyways, so while I was at this house, I pointed out a few things, but then, she seemed concerned because she still wanted to sell the house. And I'm like, I had time, so I sat down with her. I said, listen, there's things you could do to this house that really don't cost a lot of money that will increase the value. So we came up with 17 quick fixes that instantly boost her home's value. And one of these 17 might work for you, to increase the value of your home. And they're pretty simple. So stay till the end. Don't miss any of them. In the meantime, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. I know I ask it every time, but it's really important. It's really motivational. It helps out the channel. And remember, if you need a home inspector anywhere in Tampa Bay, I'm available, and I got a network of guys that are available too that are very, very good. Also, if you need a real estate agent anywhere in the country, let me know. My phone number is below. You can text me, you can call me, or there's a link below. Better yet, just click that link, fill out the information, what you're looking for, and we'll take care of you. So this is what we came up with. All right. And some of them are really, they're no particular order. All right. I told her, boost your curb appeal. First impressions matter. I told her, trim the bushes, add mulch, edge the lawn, plant flowers, instantly upgrades the exterior. Her exterior was just plain. Like the grass had weeds, some bare patches, it had mulch that was really old. And then I was like, it's not a lot of money. Go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, pick up some mulch, lay it down, clean up the weeds, edge, a little bit of curb appeal goes a really long way. Think about it. When people first go to check out your house to buy it, that's the first thing they see. And first impressions matter. It matters when you first meet somebody, but at the same time, it matters when you're first going into a house or going to a house, okay? Okay, some of her rooms and everything, the paint was horrible. Like she patched it, and then they tried painting it, but it still had the old paint on there. So I told her, put a fresh coat of paint, and that's one of the highest return on investments you're going to get. And stick to neutral colors. We said, make spaces feel larger and brighter. Like, don't go crazy. If you have rooms that are wallpaper or painted really, really dark colors, change it. Just paint it light, neutral colors, okay? This stuff really, really helps. I've been in thousands of homes, all right? And as soon as I walk in, I know which ones are going to sell quick and which ones aren't. And like, if you notice, if you go into a flipper's home, they kind of do all this stuff because they know this is the stuff that matters. So if you want to sell your house, inexpensive stuff. All right, well, the other thing I told her to do is update the lighting fixtures. Swap out the old, outdated fixtures, modern, more energy-efficient ones. Some of our light fixtures were so old and decrepit and full of dust and a couple of light bulbs out, hire, somebody that's qualified to go there and just change out. I mean, that's going to go a long way. Nice, bright, energy efficient lights really make a difference. And listen, some of them could be expensive, but there's a lot of them. If you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and everything, especially when they're having sales, some of them aren't expensive at all. And hers were like bad. The next thing I told her to do, and I don't think, I think you get away with this cheaper, because she's like, oh my God, that's really expensive. I told her replace the cabinet doors if possible, but definitely replace the hardware. All right. New handles, knobs can modernize kitchen, bathroom instantly. Some of her knobs were missing or loose, or those old 1970 ones. So I was like, listen, take everything out. That was my suggestion. Sand it down, give it a nice coat of paint, and go buy new hardware for the cabinet doors. All right. I really, really think, because people are they go. That's why flippers always emphasize on the kitchens and the bathrooms, because that's where people gravitate to. That's really important. The next thing I told her to do is deep clean, okay? She has so much clutter everywhere. Like if you took pictures off the walls, you'll see the markings of the pictures and everything. Her closets were like, if you open up the wrong door in the closet, everything's just going to fall down. I told her, one of the most important things is declutter. Even if you have to buy rent a storage unit, you have a small one, just freaking box everything up, throw out the stuff that you haven't used in years. And I said, declutter. That's so, so important. That house was so cluttered with stuff, and it was just like the furniture, the way it was, you just had to walk around one chair to another chair, then everything. Over the years, I do it too. I build up stuff and everything, and then my wife gets rid of it when I'm not home. Another thing I told her to do about it after she does the knobs on the kitchen cabinets is to add a backsplash. You go to Home Depot and Lowe's, and you could buy a backsplash pretty cheap. And it is a DIY project. If you're halfway handy and you can cut things safely, you put a little glue there and you buy some backsplash and just put it on there. It makes a world of difference. It really, really does. So I told her to put some backsplash onto her kitchen. I think that between that and the knobs is going to do really well. Okay, the next one, you want to make the house look. Her air conditioner was a little bit on the older side, but her thermostat was really old. It was one of those, dials that you have to turn this way and the little switch. I said, go spend $100, $150 and get a smart thermostat. Paint the wall where it is, put a smart thermostat in there, because psychologically, when people see a smart thermostat, they're like, oh, this thing is up to date. It's good. People like that stuff. But if they see the old ones from the 80s and the 70s and stuff, they're like, how's the air conditioner in the first place? So I told her to do that. I told her to recaulk the bathrooms and kitchen. Old musty caulk makes them feel worn out. Recaulking, like if you open up her bathtub, the caulking was either dirty or black or missing or this and that. I told her to scrape it all out, clean everything up, and recaulk the bathrooms, anywhere in the kitchen, put nice fresh caulking in there. It makes a world of difference, especially when people open up to look at the bathtub. The next thing I told her to do is upgrade the light switches and the outlet covers, because she had different kind of outlet covers. Some of them were cracked. Some of them are like decolored. I don't even know why. But I'm like, you know what? Replace all the light switch covers and the outlet covers. Replace them all. Okay? Paint the walls. Throw out the old outlet covers and put fresh ones in there. It really makes these little things. You may think I'm rambling, but these little things really, really make a difference when you're trying to sell your house. Or even if you're not trying to sell your house, you would say, hey, you know what? I want to spruce up my house. All right? This is a way to spruce up your house very cheaply, in my opinion. Another thing is, she had some rooms, because it's like her house was a little bit boxy. It was a little bit on the older side, and they were small. I told her to go to the stores or the flea market or something and buy some mirrors. I think that if she put mirrors in those small rooms, it would expand. So I told her mirrors reflect light and can make small rooms feel double the size. Because I've been into some houses and I'm like, the room is small, but then I walk in and there's a big mirror on one wall or something. I'm like, it really does make a difference. So think about that one. And then we went back outside. I said, listen, you have mold, moss building, mildew, whatever. I told her to power wash the exterior of the surface of the house, blast away the old grime and the sidewalks, driveways, decks. It gives it a dramatic, okay, if you can't paint it, if you need, the house needs painting, I really recommend to paint it. But if you can't paint it, at least clean it. Get a power washer, or hire a power washing company. They're a dime a dozen. You can find them everywhere. And have somebody do the driveways, do the sidewalks, do the house, do around the windows. And then if there's caulking missing, re-caulk the windows and everything. Here's one that when I told her too, that I walk into her house, like the first thing I see, I see the landscaping and I'm like, first impressions, I was like, yeah, this is not good. I mean, I had some weeds that were like 3 feet tall, 2 feet tall. I mean, pull them out. Just literally pull them out because the front's what they see. But then I walk up the steps and then I look at her front door, and the front door has like cracks in it. It's just old paint. The window looks like it hasn't been cleaned in years. So I told her, I was like, paint or stain the front door. Okay, a bold front door is a vitamin to the eye catcher. It feels more focal point of your entry of your house. Literally, like if you go to a house and the front door looks clean, like I went to one house and the door was like, the house was okay, but the door, they painted it this bright red, and I'm like, wow, that's a cool looking door. It's an old door, but it popped, and the trim around it popped and everything. So we went back to the closets because I was like, the more time I spent in the house, I'm like, listen, you really need to organize the closets and storage area. A tidy, well-organized closet, larger, adds sense of order. Even a garage. I'm like, we walked into the garage and you could barely walk. I said, listen, everything has to come off the floor, okay? Put some shelves up, put everything on the shelf, paint the garage floor, all right? It looks like it's just like part of it has old carpet on it. Clean all that up, okay? Because that had a musty smell to it. Pull out the carpet, put everything on shelves, and paint the garage floor. That's going to make a huge, huge, big difference. Here's another one I told her. I said, we went back outside, and our house numbers, like, it had 4 digits in our house number, and one of them is like crooked, one of them is bent, faded. I was like, put fresh house numbers on. It just looks old and decrepit. House numbers. And people are like, well, that's getting a little picky, but it makes a difference. If you go to the store, Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever store you want, I know I keep saying Home Depot and Lowe's, but that's the only ones I really know around here. You could buy, or Amazon, you could buy really nice house numbers and put them on, and it makes a difference. So, because when people are first coming to your house, they're going to punch in the address, and they're going to go to the house. What's the first thing they're going to look at your house? It's not going to be a landscaping, but it's close second. It's going to be the house number. Okay, this is the right house. Okay? And if it's nice, bright house numbers, that's the first impression that they're going to get. Okay? And I told her, replace worn weather stripping, seal gaps, improve energy efficiency, show the home is well maintained. Back to the front door. All her weather stripping, half of it was missing here, half of it was missing there, and the back door, the same thing. I'm like, listen, again, go to the store, cut all that stuff out, get all this stuff out, paint the whole frame of the door, put brand new weather stripping. So when you close the door and you're inside the house and you're looking out, you're not seeing any light. Okay? If you're seeing light, there's a problem because you shouldn't see any light. And then, we started talking about her windows. Okay, obviously it's expensive to replace windows. Would it be nice for her to replace windows? Yes. Can she afford it? No. Is it great to recaulk the windows? Yes, and that she will do. But I mean, her window treatments, her blinds and all that stuff. This much dust on it, okay, and old and yellow, and some of them have the strings, that they don't use anymore, so kids don't get it wrapped around their neck and stuff. It was just like ridiculous. I said, you're really gonna have to take down all these window treatments and throw them out. Okay, a couple of them you can wash, but if you can't, throw them out. Put nice, bright window treatments up. It's just hers were horrible, and most of the houses I go in are horrible, and it makes a big difference. And the other thing too is like her baseboard. Over the years it got kicked. And I said, paint your baseboard. When you're painting the walls, paint the baseboard too. Just you want the place to pop. Okay, after you declutter and you paint it, and then go around the house too. And this is a bonus one because that was the 17. But get bright light bulbs, all right, and put them. Don't put like a soft white light bulb with a outdoor light bulb, and mix and match. Make it so it's the same color, around the house, and change the light bulbs so that that place looks nice and bright and airy. And if anything, smells or anything like that, that you can get rid of, old carpet or worn out carpet with stains and everything, rip it up. Just rip it up. All right. People don't like seeing old stained carpet and stuff. They want to know what's underneath it. Sometimes vinyl, it's getting cheaper and cheaper, or laminate, it's getting cheaper. If you could afford it, rip that stuff up, put down. If you want carpet, rip it up and put fresh carpet down. But that's the stuff that I talked to her about doing. And she's actually doing a lot of it. And I'm actually going to go back and check it out. But I guarantee you, if she does everything that we talked about, I guarantee you she would have much better luck selling the house because of just the appeal of it. Tell me what you guys think, all right? Really consider it. Do you think some of these tips? And what are some things maybe I left out that people could do that doesn't cost a lot of money, all right? Because obviously money, you could change anything in a house. But that doesn't cost a lot of money that you could increase the value of the house and spruce it up. In the meantime, check out this video here or here. I think you're going to like it. And remember, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And don't forget, if you need a home inspector anywhere in Tampa Bay or a real estate agent anywhere in the country, click the link below and fill it out. I'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you for watching this video to the end.